Let's see. Seems like a small group. Do you want to give it another minute or two for folks to hop on?
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
Might as well. Because we don't have Eric on. And a couple other of the routine folks that usually join. But
hey everyone. How's everybody's summer going along?
good, how's yours, Marty?
Oh, really good, thanks. Can't believe we're in the 95-degree weather though.
That's pretty bad outside.
I know.
All right, let's see. Eric joined us and a couple of folks. So we can go ahead and jump in. And if more people join, then that's great. Otherwise, we'll just be a smaller group. So welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining our June Tampa Bay Area University Community Traffic Safety Team meeting. I'm Kathleen Koviak. I am your chair of this committee. And so we'll start with some brief introductions. We'll just call on folks and feel free to come off mute and introduce yourselves. So we'll start with Katie.
Hello, everyone. My name is Katie Godwin. I serve as your vice chair, and my day-to-day job is emergency operations at the University of Tampa.
Thank you. And then we have Brenton.
You're muted, Brenton.
Brenton Mosier, University of South Florida Center for Urban Transportation Research, Qatar.
Excellent. Emmett.
Emmett Duran, District 7 Safety Engineer, FDOT.
Eric.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Eric Henry with District 7 Safety, your CTST Program Manager.
And Peter.
UD Candyman, I'm back. I disappeared for almost a month.
Thanks for joining us today. Marty.
Marty, you're on mute. Marty, you're still on mute. I don't know if they can hear us.
Can you hear us, Marty?
I'm sorry, I had my mute on. Hey everyone, I'm Marty with the University of Tampa. I'm the energy manager here, and then I'm here to support everybody and Katie on the CTST team.
Thanks so much. Nicholas.
Everyone, good afternoon. Nicholas Innes, Element Engineering Group, the D7 Safety Consultant.
And Lori.
Hello, everyone. Lori Paleo with JMT.
Melissa.
Everybody, Melissa Shepard with JMT, a FDOT District 7 Safety Consultant. And just to let everybody know, the meeting is being recorded. If you are not speaking, please mute your mics.
Thanks, Melissa. And then it looks like we've got two folks joining us by phone. So if you're on the line, if you want to feel free to introduce who you are.
Yeah, this is Jim Reiser. I'm the District 7 Law Enforcement Liaison.
Thanks, Jim. And the other person?
Jacob Gonzalez, Tampa Police Department.
All right, thank you, Jacob. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks again for joining us this afternoon. We'll start by going through our May agenda, or May minutes, sorry, and Melissa's pulled those up and they should have been emailed to you earlier as well. So let's take a second and go through those. And if anybody has anything that is incorrect and wants to change, let us know. Or if you'd like to motion to approve those.
This is Jim Reiser. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Excellent. Thank you both. So our minutes are approved. So we'll jump into our problem identification updates and follow up. So we've got, I think, 4 areas now. So we have that Lois Avenue crossing that we've been looking at for a while. Last time we heard that there was an approved mobility project to address the installation of a crosswalk for the students and the residents there, but don't have any time frame yet. I don't know if anybody else has heard anything on this specific item.
Nope. Paige wrote me and said that she was unable to meet or to make the meeting, but she did say that this is still ongoing, so no update at this time.
All right, great. Thanks, Melissa. And then we have the item number 2 is that lighting issue that I know Officer Marchesano has been working on. Hopefully she maybe has been able to reach out to some folks from Hillsborough County. I know she's not able to be here today, so can follow up and see if she's received any contact back or if there's any updates for those lights. And then we have a couple of the UT area ones. So the first one being Kennedy Boulevard at Willow Avenue and Delaware Avenue, adding some inlets there, some projects. Any updates for what plans to go in there?
Yeah, I received the plans on 2 projects right there on the north side of Kennedy. Actually, it's a repavement project on the north side of Kennedy from Woodland to Brevard. And then the second project, which was just naturally separated out because it's so close to the railroad tracks. It's going to be redoing the railroad crossing on Kennedy right there at Willow Street. And so I got the plans just today on both of those projects. It does not appear that there is any stormwater inlets, but I'm going to finish my review on those plans and then really just go ahead and send an email out to the FDOT personnel that are handling that projects or both of those projects, and seeing if there's any chance. The plans that they sent me are final plans. They're moving forward with the project, so it doesn't look promising that we could get some stormwater inlets. But then I'm going to, in the same email, ask them, are there any stormwater drainage improvements along those both of those projects? So we'll have an update on for the next meeting on whether it's going to be something that we're going to be able to get done or not regarding stormwater improvements between Willow and Delaware on the north side of Kennedy.
Great, thank you, Marty. And then the other one that we have is North Boulevard between Cass and Kennedy, looking to apply within the city's mobility group for some new design options. See if there's some financing options as well. Any updates for that area?
I don't have any updates. I know that we're looking at, possible funding, other funding. In my own opinion on this is that we need to have, it needs to be more, entities involved in this project, not just UT. So I think the funding will, if we are able to find any funding, that'll open up when we go through that process. If not, I don't know how we can get this done on our own. It really needs to be, holistic approach like we talked last meeting. And I'm not sure if Katie has any updates on that, but I haven't done a lot on that project so far this last month.
I don't have anything further than what you've shared.
All right, thank you both. So those are the ones that we have on our list as of now. Are there any new areas that have popped up that are posing issues that anyone would like to bring forward and discuss any possible solution options? All right. If not, then we'll move into the next section of our agenda, just going over some updates and activity reports. So we'll start with law enforcement. Any law enforcement updates?
Jacob Gonzalez, Tampa Police Department. 1 second, let me pull these up for you. I'll go over last month's activity and this month. So in May, we had 184 DUI arrests. That was up from 133 in 2023. So an increase of 51. I'm sorry, 51. We had a very busy Memorial weekend that netted 40 DUI arrests with our agency alone. We had 6 fatal crashes over in May. 1 was DUI related. And in June, we have DUI education presentations scheduled for Chamberlain High School for their summer school program.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jacob, for those updates and for all the work your crew is doing, especially with the DUI enforcement. Anything upcoming for the next month?
For June, we
Jim
have
Riser,
the
law enforcement liaison. Sorry, Jake, go ahead.
No, I didn't know she was talking to me. Yeah, for June, that's when we have the DUI education presentation at Chamberlain. We don't have any special operations planned, just the education.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, this is Jim Riser, law enforcement liaison program. Appreciate all the agencies' participation in the Click It or Ticket program that just wrapped up. It was an education and enforcement initiative. It ran from, I believe, the 22nd through June 2nd. Putting together the reporting on that now. A couple enforcement and education waves coming up. Operation Southern Slowdown, that's a speed enforcement. It's coming up in July. And then we have a Drive Sober, Get Pulled Over initiative over the Labor Day weekend, which I'm sure all the area DUI units will be participating in. Big shout out to Tampa. They were big supporters of the Click It or Ticket this year. So hopefully we made some impact out there and changed some behavior out there. other than that, not a whole lot going on. A couple enforcement waves like I talked about, but it's been fairly quiet as far as things on the horizon. It will ramp up toward the end of the year.
Excellent. Thank you, Jim. And then we have our bicycle and pedestrian reports, updates. Brenton, do you have anything you want to share from Cutter?
Sure. We had a partnership with the Hillsborough Planning Commission. Every year they bring a bunch of high school students around to learn about careers in urban planning. It's called FLIP, Future Leaders in Planning. And so they came to Cutter and, heard a couple of different applications. And they heard from me a walk, bike, drive safety presentation. So that was always good to, reach out to potential future university students, high school students in another way. And I'll put a couple pictures in the chat for that.
Awesome. Thank you. Anything on the bike pedestrian safety from UT or anybody else?
We are still working on our bicycle friendly application and looking forward to submit that in August. Something that I'm sure some of you know about, the Cleveland Avenue south of our campus has gotten redone to take away one of the lanes of traffic heading westbound and replace it with a bike lane and that is protected by parallel parking spots for vehicles. So it's, I think, a block south of our campus. So that opens up another avenue for folks to get to us with or without a vehicle. And then it also provides, I think, ample parking for the area. So we're interested to see how that changes our traffic patterns and impacts our campus in the fall.
I do have a couple things that I can mention on our side. We were out last Sunday at Al Lopez Park, right across from HCC Dale Mabry there. There was an event hosted by BAPS Charities, their annual charity walk in the joy of others, I believe it's called. We were out there doing helmet fitting, handing out safety materials. We were able to fit, I think the final count was around 80 helmets. So it was a great turnout from the community there. A lot of younger kids, some folks riding up on scooters without helmets, leaving with helmets. So we love to see that. Other than that, I will add that this month is National Safety Month, which is a very broad safety in all aspects, from work zone, workplace, traffic safety, any and all of the above. So I know Click It or Ticket is ending, but we're kind of continuing to try to push towards seatbelt safety as our kind of angle on that this month. We do have a ton of these Buckle Up Florida banners that we would love to hand out to any of our community partners who are interested. I will post a picture of one in the chat here. They're pretty small, so they fit pretty much anywhere in an office or around your campus. So if anybody's interested in one or several of those, just reach out to me and we'd be happy to get a few of them to you. But I think that is all that we have.
Excellent. Thanks, everybody.
I got
Anyone
something
else?
to throw in the
Yeah.
Head Bike, if it's okay, real quick. It's Jim Reiser, Florida Law Enforcement Liaison Program. The Florida Pedestrian Bike Safety Alert Today, Alive Tomorrow program with the high visibility education enforcement that ended in May. We're getting ready to ramp up the new program that's going to start hopefully the end of July, beginning of August. There'll be some meetings coming up for law enforcement. For those of you unfamiliar with it, this program has law enforcement engage people on the street when they actually make a mistake, crossing the road or not using a crosswalk, crossing mid-block. And it does affect the university areas for several years. I know Tampa's had areas along Kennedy Boulevard, near North Boulevard as part of that enforcement, and then along Fowler Avenue up near USF. So that'll be starting again. That's going to run through next May, around the 15th of 2025. So the funding allocation has been done, and we'll start doing the education for that and the outreach. Hopefully all the law enforcement in the area. I know that Tampa's qualifying for funds this year, along with the Hillsborough County Sheriff, Temple Terrace Police Department, Plant City Police Department, and then we also have St. Petersburg going to qualify, and Pinellas County Sheriff, so that should cover the USF St. Petersburg. I think they have a corridor down near that, so that's going to get ready to start. And that's been a program ongoing for several years, and primarily education, and then there is an enforcement aspect to it, especially when it results to speeding motor vehicles along those high injury network corridors.
That's great. Thank you. Anyone else have any updates from their areas? All right, we will go over our fatal crash map that we have for this month that Lori can walk us through.
So from January 1st to March 23rd of 2024, there have been 6 fatal crashes. At the last CTST from January to February 4th, there were 4 fatal crashes. So there's been 2 new fatal crashes within the 1 mile proximity of the universities. Both of the new fatal crashes were at USF, and they were both pedestrian fatal crashes. So the first pedestrian fatal crash was on February 22nd at 8:56 p.m. on 42nd Street and Fletcher Avenue. Not at the intersection, in dark lighted, cloudy, dry conditions, and this was driveway alley access related. Vehicle 1 was traveling southbound on 42nd Street, turning left into a private driveway at the Flats Apartments. The scooter rider, so it was a scooter rider, was riding a motorized stand-up scooter northbound in the bicycle lane. The driver of Vehicle 1 made the left turn directly in front of the scooter rider, who was traveling through the driveway at the time of the collision. The scooter rider was impaired by alcohol. The second pedestrian fatal crash was on March 1st, 2024 at 9:50 p.m. on Fowler Avenue and 56th Street. Not at the intersection, in dark, lighted, clear, dry conditions. Driver 1 was traveling eastbound on Fowler Avenue when the non-motorist attempted to cross the street heading south. The non-motorist managed to avoid the vehicle in the left lane on the eastbound lane, causing him to get struck by Vehicle 1 in the middle lane. So those are the 2 new pedestrian fatal crashes. So again, there's been 6 fatal crashes through March 23rd, and in the same time period in 2023, there were 3 fatal crashes. So university is up by 3 fatal crashes, same time period. And that is everything for university.
Lori, I think Temple Terrace PD made a request through FDOT, maybe Peter or MF, to evaluate the street lighting on that last one at Fowler and 56, going out in that area. So I'm going off memory, so I could be completely wrong, guys, but I believe that that request was made, and I don't know where we're at in that process, but usually working with TICO, they're pretty good about it, make sure everything was functional out there.
Fowler, 56th Street?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think that occurred. That was 56, right? The one that you just said, Lori?
Yes, Fowler Avenue and 56th Street North.
Yeah, I think it was just east of the intersection, if I remember right. I'm not exactly sure, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I do remember we upgraded the corridor lighting from 52nd East to Morris Bridge, I believe, last year. And then the intersection lighting was for Fowler was also retrofitted to LED. But we probably need to double check that all those lights are functional. Make sure that it was.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, because I mean, I've driven through there at night, and I didn't see an issue. I was kind of surprised by that request, and I'm sure you were too. But I guess it doesn't hurt to double check.
Yeah, we could probably drive through it after work. and see what's happening there. Yeah. Lori, how many of those you said were impaired driving related or impaired road user related?
Yes, so the one at 42nd East Fletcher Avenue, the scooter driver was impaired by alcohol.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so just one.
Yes.
But Emmett, you're hitting on it. That is a big problem with the motorized scooters, especially in the downtown Tampa area. There is a lot of intoxication.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's somewhat enforceable at times, and a lot of times it just gets, they get lucky. They don't get stopped by the police, so they're not involved in an incident. But just FYI for the group.
Hey, I'm curious, and this is for the university's representatives here. Do the universities tend to send emails or announcements related to impaired driving or impaired scooter? Or would they be willing to send anything out to their emails and say, hey, this summer, remember to don't drink and drive, et cetera, or any of those messages that we can just kind of reinforce and reach out to them. I know we do it through our DOT, but I don't know how many university students are actually following DOT on Facebook or social media, right? So maybe a message through the universities can help us reach the audience as a last minute reminder type of thing during the summer.
And you do any type of yard signage, in these areas around the university, saying with safety messages and stuff like that?
I think that's a good idea. I don't see why we couldn't. Just kind of getting some exposure to the message, right? Maybe also adding some options as to what they can do. I don't know how many are aware that, well, I don't know if this is still a thing, but they Pepin used to fund a tow to go or tow, where a tow truck will pick your car up and pick you up and take you to your destination so that you don't have to drive impaired. And I know there was also, now we have, all those rideshare options there. And so I'm wondering, I think I was having dinner at one place the other day, and I saw RideSmart had these coasters with a message, right? That's, that said, don't ride and don't drink and ride. So I was thinking if that's something that universities could probably just hand out as promotional materials, like coasters with a QR code for, options to ride sharing, or in a safety message, don't ride and drink, or don't drink and drive, or don't drink and drive. I don't know if that's an option there. I'm just throwing ideas off the cuff here. Don't throw me out of the room yet.
No, I appreciate your suggestions. I know at USF, something my office does is we do post on social media with some of these safety messages and try to disseminate it. I know emails are kind of tricky, depending on what, student list you have and who's sending it and things like that. Sometimes those just kind of don't get opened or don't get read or things like that. So we find doing things on social media or sharing things, at events or on screens on campus, things like that, like in the library and the residence halls, like having posters or digital messages can be helpful in making those messages more visible. So we have some, we put some, one out before Memorial Day, and we do 4th of July and things like that. But I definitely, with scooters, I think that's something that we can do more of, or have a more specific focus on that, because we do a lot with, driving a vehicle and recommending ride shares, and our student government has a partnership with Uber that we promote, that students can get a discount on their Uber rides through that partnership and things like that. But sometimes students might think like, oh, well, I'm not driving a vehicle, and it's a scooter or things like that, and or even if they're just walking and knowing that can still be dangerous. And so highlighting that more is something that I'll want to plan to do more.
Okay, yeah, and how about HCC and University of Tampa? Is that something similar that you all do for the summer, or any special events coming up?
We don't have a large contingent of students on campus during our summer, and our students don't typically look at our messaging during the summer. However, I think that can be a lot of information we can push out at the beginning of the year when they return through the offices that do that. I'm happy to facilitate that.
Same with us at HCC. Our population is really reduced during the summer hours, but we do ramp up with a lot of messages for the fall term.
Oh, yeah, okay. And how about, but not, sounds like not so much like at the end of the semester, right, when they're leaving, right? It's usually when they come back, we push that out. Okay. I'm kind of wondering if we were to develop some type of material or something, you know, we can provide to you all and help us share that message with the students, for especially for scooters, because you mentioned that there isn't really that much outreach there for that. We focus, most of our NHTSA campaigns focus heavily on driving, and riding. Scooter is not, it's still a, you know, evolving very rapidly mobility option. So you know, I'll probably seek your support. I'll probably have Eric will probably work with Lori to kind of work on something that we can share with the group and help us spread the message to the students during the summer, and see what we can do. Just guess at last minute, because you know those numbers keep going up, right? So we got to try whatever we can to do that. So all right. Well, thank you all.
Thank you, Emma. Any other announcements? Anything people want to share related to that, or anything else they want to bring to the group? I know at USF, we're just starting our orientation sessions for the summer too. So try to give students as many educational resources as possible. I know it can sometimes be that fire hose effect, but at least, you know, raise their awareness about some of these policies and education on our campus safety and things like that can be helpful. And the parents as well. We have the opportunity that they can receive resources and things too. So so that's just gearing up. I think the first session was today, and that'll run through the rest of summer. And yeah, I don't think we have too much else noteworthy to share at the moment.
I have something, just kind of thinking aloud here, because I think Eric had mentioned it before about green markings for bike lanes. I think we have received a request for green markings for bike lanes, but not sure if USF was the one that had submitted the request or something. Eric,
I
you
believe
remember
that came from, yeah, that came from Officer Marciano. She was, I believe, just looking to clarify whether it was possible or not. I don't think they've submitted a formal request for it yet, but
Yeah.
I know that's a conversation me and Bill had previously.
Yeah, and I think my concern was that USF had tried installing green markings, putting green markings out there, but they were pressure washed, I think, you know, days after, because they had not gotten approval from facilities. So, you know,
I remember that. That was a mess.
Were you at USF when that happened?
Yeah, I was a
So-
student then. Yeah.
That was me, and we did get approval, but only that they would be temporary. But we did not know that they were going to spray them off because they were like waterproof. They were supposed to be like during the rainfall season, like it would just wash away naturally. We did not know that they were going to come and actually physically remove them. But it
Wow.
was done with the understanding that they would be temporary for the Transportation Day road closure event.
Gotcha. But I wonder, has there, I drive and ride around USF campus often because I'm across the street at DOT. So, is there is there any consideration for making them permanent at specific specific locations? You know where that conversation is in Brenton or I don't know
That is what
anybody
Mark
else.
Trusano has been working on, I believe, is
Okay.
getting them in specific locations that she knows to be
Yeah.
crash conflict points and such. They
We
tend
can-
not to listen to Cutter anymore.
Gotcha. Because I think we could probably look at a more, probably not like the standard road, the highway standard type of material, but a lower cost material that we could implement, and maybe something that we could probably fund through the DOT. But I will need to see the approval from facilities before we end up approving that request, right? But then I also want to open it up to the city, University of Tampa and HCC, if that's something they would be interested in doing in their, around their campus. And I know some of these campuses kind of are adjacent to county maintained roadways or city maintained roadways. So maybe there needs to be a little bit of a conversation between DOT and the city, but just kind of bring it up to them. I think we could probably look at some of the material similar to what they have used on downtown Tampa for those murals. I think they're still there and they've been there for a while now. So maybe we can look at similar material, and see if we can. So I think the bicyclists, for traffic won't probably impact it as much as cars having to drive over it constantly. So we can probably figure out during design, but I just wanted to open that conversation there. And if there's any interest, we can continue that later on, separate time. But
Yeah, that would be great.
yeah, awesome. That's all I got.
Just for UT on the side is Jim Reiser again.
Yeah, Jim.
I know the city's getting ready to do a major renovation of Cleveland Street, going out towards the Hyde Park area. I don't know if Emmett, you guys are involved in that at all or not. I'm sure, but it's getting ready to kick off if it hasn't started already. And hopefully we'll see how that project goes. Might be something to look at if you want to do similar treatments in those areas. I know I believe they were going to do some green bike lane markings on that roadway, similar to Platt Street.
Gotcha. No, I'm not involved, but I saw the news. Yep. That came out of that.
Yeah, I think Katie at the beginning of the meeting mentioned that work there on Cleveland. I'm not sure if she's aware of any kind of bike lane work at all, but she mentioned that Cleveland Street there earlier on in the meeting. It's just south of the university here, Cleveland Street, just a couple blocks south, one way.
Hey, Marty, just to circle back to your question on drainage improvements, the city's got that West River build project going on out there.
Right.
It has all them streets highlighted except for Kennedy. So I don't know if maybe that's going to be a side benefit, the drainage improvements going on out there with that. I was trying to read through the document, but it's pretty long. So I don't know if that's part of what you were looking for, but hopefully they're going to have to do some drainage improvements out there for that.
Yeah, the plan, the way it's almost like naturally coming to fruition, mainly because that you have that CSX railroad right there, and it's crossing there at Willow and Kennedy, and So the city FDOT purposely separated out that project because it's very tough, working within the CXX right away. So they purposely separated
exactly.
that out, and it looks like that it was just naturally missed between Willow and Delaware on the north side of Kennedy, because the CXX project goes to about 400 feet east of Willow and then 350 feet west of Willow. And I couldn't see anything on the plans that showed that they had stormwater inlets. The other project that goes from Woodland to Brevard, Woodland's over there by McDill, and then to Brevard over here by our campus here at UT. They, skip that portion of the CXX project on Kennedy, but then they pick it back up right there at North Boulevard. But it doesn't look like they pick it back up anywhere west of there, right there between Willow and Delaware. So it just looked like it just got naturally missed just because of the nature of where it's at and the CXX railroad. And so I know that the plans were final and everything. But I'm going to try to make an attempt to see if we could work them in. I'm not sure. I mean, if we could just have 2 stormwater inlets on the north side of Kennedy, one close to Delaware and one close to Willow, that would that would correct the problem there. And I don't know, I might confuse it a little bit, but I always mention that the Tampa General Rehabilitation Hospital just went in west of Willow, and talking with FDOT, they said that they have 2 new stormwater inlets there on the north side of Kennedy, right there at the new rehabilitation hospital. And one's close to Willow, and then one's close to the west, west perpendicular main road. I forgot which one that was, but or is. But anyway, it just looks like it just naturally got missed, and I'm going to go ahead and try to see if we could, impact it at all late in the game, but I don't think we're going to have any success, but we'll see, but I appreciate Mike Zinn bringing it up anyway. And at least, we've got it on the radar screen, but I'll be able to feedback, in my email back and forth to DOT and see if we can make an impact, but we'll probably know whether or not that these projects are scheduled to be completed toward the end of this year. So I think the one on Kennedy there, the CXF Railroad that they're redoing, that's going to impact Kennedy in a big way. And I hope that they do get that done before school starts, because they're going to have lane closures and things of that sort. So I appreciate the input on anything and any kind of influence that we could pass on to see if we can get some installed at this time. But if not, that's fine too. It was just worth a try for sure.
All right. Any other updates or things that folks want to share before we wrap up? All righty. Well, thanks everybody for joining today and for all of your input and updates. So for our July meeting, we recognize that the date that our meeting would fall on, it would be right before that July 4th holiday, and in understanding that folks might have travel vacation plans, taking that day off, etc. We're going to push our meeting back to the following week and have it be July 9th, which will be a Tuesday at 3 p.m. And it'll still be virtual. So, so mark your calendars for that, and you'll receive the Teams link and things like that leading up to it as well. But just want you all to make note of that adjustment to the schedule, and hope that you can make it for that and join us then. And if there's anything else that comes up in the meantime, feel free to reach out. But thank you again for your time, and hope you all have a great rest of your day and week.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
y'all.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.